Hi there everyone, Andrew Chubb here from Awalé Resources. I'm just recording a little webinar to go with our most recent news release from BBM. It's the last two holes which were testing depth extent of our mineralization at BBM. Two successful holes showing that we've got down dip and plunge continuity, which is great, and we've also got some increasing grade with depth. So these intercepts are sort of down below, more than 300 meters below surface. So, to consider those as being, potentially economic or mineable, we need to see some increasing grade with depth to give us a chance of, even underground potential at BBM. So without further ado, we'll jump into a couple of the slides I've put together for you guys to get a little bit of color around the news release and why we're happy with what we've seen in the drilling. So just a quick recap on where BBM is. We're in the northwest of Côte d'Ivoire on the Odienné project. BBM does sit within the Newmont joint venture. All the work that we've done is within this permit here at this stage. We've recently just got this one here to the left or the western side granted, and we'll start work on that in 2025. But BBM is roughly here, and then here we're showing also the other recent release that we have of the geocamp anomaly that we've got in the 100% Awalé permits, which sits a couple of 4 kilometers along strike from our BBM discovery. And this is just this on the right here is a zoom in of that permit, showing BBM up here close to what we call the belt basin margin, which is why we call it BBM, and our other discoveries around the place, which are Empire, Charger, and Scepter East. And then we have also that big footprint, which is in the pipeline to be tested, called Lando, which is a 4 kilometer long copper gold moly footprint. The headline hole that we reported was drill hole number 98, with 12 meters at 3.9 grams gold equivalent. So we are seeing that increase in grade with depth. The photos below of the core trays show that 12 meter interval there in orange. We are showing the gold grades there only, not the gold equivalent grades. But we have that 12 meters at 3.9, which was 2.86 grams gold, 0.559% copper, and 338 ppm moly for that 3.9 grams gold equivalent. And that was within a longer interval of 27 meters at 2.7 grams. So again, we're just seeing some nice mineralization within the same alteration and high strain system that we've seen in the other holes that have delivered and we've reported, such as hole 74 and 89 and hole 90 and others. And so this is what's forming that core 600 meter long zone between a 1 and 1.3 kilometer strike of mineralization that we've now drilled. So what we've done here is just a little video of the we've wireframed the mineralization. We have pushed it to depth as an exploration target to help us with our drill planning, but we'll just take you for a quick 3D fly through. So right here we're looking northwest at an oblique angle across BBM, and I'll just hit play, and so we'll come down below surface and start and see the block model from the wireframe from below surface, and the 28 drill holes that we've drilled to date. So we've drilled 6,800 meters at BBM now in 28 drill holes, and what this will do is sort of will come to a bird's eye view or a plan view looking down. It's steeply dipping, and the main mineralization does plunge off. Here we are showing that that 1.3 kilometers that we've drilled. So there is a long way between drill holes. We haven't drilled many holes yet. There's a lot more drilling to be done at BBM as you push it towards resource. And what we've done here is actually just cut a section through that. This is the discovery line, And here you can see, so it's just trying to give you an idea of what those 2D cross sections look like that we depict in a lot of our news releases. The true widths of mineralization there are 20 to 30 meters in that discovery line. And then we're going to do another quick section through hole number 74, 65 and 64, which we released in March, where we got increasing grade with depth and some broader intervals in that in that hole number 74. So the true width of hole number 74, we're up to 50 meters, and within that sort of downhole intercept, which was roughly 70 meters downhole to give us that 50 meter true width. The next couple of slides just move into a couple more cross sections and long sections as well. So I'm going to show you some of the detailed ones that we do, like hand drawn on site, before we make pretty pictures for you guys for news releases as well. We do everything on pen and paper for our interpretation. We get intimate with the geology. We feel it's a really important thing before we bring anything into these sort of 3D models, which are fantastic when done properly. So here we got the plan view showing the drill holes that we have. Those two red holes there are the ones that were reported in this release. 97 is probably right on the edge of the plunge, and also we're bringing in a new fold model. When we reanalyzed all the holes after getting, geology-wise, after getting the latest results, we'd always seen some folding on a small scale, on a centimetre scale within the drill core, but we hadn't drilled enough holes to make an inference on that on a larger scale. And now we've been able to make connections on a larger scale between those small scale folding that we've been seeing, on a centimetre scale to a much bigger scale. And so now, instead of just before we had a footwall splay or a second load in the footwall to explain the repetition, but now what we think we're seeing is a result of some folding within that BBM shear. So what you're looking at there on the right is the cross section through hole number 98, and just one of the holes above that got to the same depth, which is hole number 76. The other holes that you can see on this section, those two, they're higher up here. So this is a zoom in on that depth, and just here you can see this is 330 meters vertical depth. So we're down around 350 to 400 meters vertical depth, where we've had those mineralized intercepts in hole number 98. So now, just coming back, we're looking at a long section through the entire BBM deposit. So it's a section that's cut from the northwest to the southeast, and we're looking towards the northeast through the deposit. And this is depicting the plunge that we've spoken about before, which is the mineralization is plunging roughly 45 to 55 degrees towards the northwest, and we see this grades distribution matching up with the structure or the stretching and strain, the direction that goes, that we see within the drill core. So it's nice to see those two things marrying, and gives us great confidence on what that plunge actually is. So what you can see here are these, what we've called an infill drilling panel, where we're bringing our drill holes to a roughly 100 meter spacing in the program that's just commenced. And then associated with that, there will also be what we're calling an exploration drilling towards the northwest in that green panel as well. So we've got roughly 2,000 meters planned up at this stage, and that will probably extend a little bit as the program extends and we start seeing more of the geology as it comes out of the hole. But so that's sort of where we're at right now. And what you can see here is these are traces of the drill holes along that long section, and these gold grades that we can match up across sections and down that 45 to 55 degree plunge. This is the same or a similar long section, But I'm just showing you the copper grades that we're getting. We're getting some really nice copper grades in there as well, and they're coincident with where we get the gold. So we get chalcopyrite, pyrite, and we have seen specks of visible gold in some of the deeper holes. This hole here is hole number 98, which is down plunge of 89, which we released about 6 weeks ago now, and then so that's up plunge into 74, and then up plunge into hole 90, which we also reported alongside that hole number 89. And so you can see that this hole number 97, as we drilled down, just straight down dip from hole number 89, we're probably just on the edge of the plunge, and then 98 which has got the 27 meters at 2.7 and 12 meters at 3.9 that we've reported in this release. And as I mentioned, I mean, this is, you know, fantastic stuff. It's just showing that the mineralization is open at depth, and also that we're getting grades that are getting higher up, and sort of approaching something that might be, you know, viable for underground mining below any initial open pit that might fall within a resource. This is a cross section here down what we call Northwest 150, which is 150 meters from the discovery line. So holes 50, 59 and 62 are on that discovery line. That's hole number 90, which I talked about before. I've skipped that section, and so we're coming down this one. This is 74, and this is where we're starting to infer the fold model rather than the footwall model. So before we were talking about potentially 2 loads. We think it might be the same load, which is actually folded now. And you can see, you know, we do have deeper holes planned to start to come into play, but those deeper holes will probably start to come into play sometime next year if we think we should be chasing this further or deeper for potential underground sort of mineralization. This is just coming across, so you've got a cross section of hole number 97, and so what I was talking about before we sort of modeled out a potential footwall load and a hanging wall load, but now we're sort of reverting to more of a fold model. The drilling that we've got planned actually tests both of those models in what's coming up in the next couple of months. And this is more of the same, showing drill hole 98 that we also reported in this release, with both the fold model and the footwall model depicted. We've just been stepping toward the northwest, sequential cross sections, and you can see that we're seeing more of the same, and we think, you know, that they're with more drilling down plunge, that we might actually see more folding as well. This is the last one, so that's that last sequential cross section that we've got, and here we're actually moving out into that exploration panel that we plan to start testing, so for more down plunge mineralization in the current drill program. This is just a quick slide of a zoom in from a couple of drill holes, showing that centimeter scale folding that we'd seen in the drill core and were aware of, but wanted to see more data before we could extrapolate that to folding on a tens of meter scale, and which is what we've done now. And so all the structural measurements that we've taken on this scale, we can actually see on a larger scale within the drill core as well. Look, just another sort of drill down on that folding and how we sort of came up with that model, and we think that those higher economic grades are associated with or close to those isoclinal fold hinges. For the more technically minded, if there is anyone actually watching that's more technically minded, we see the axial planes of these folds are just like fractionally oblique to the general trend of the shear. Wherever we've measured it, the shear does move. There is a bend in the shear, where we're getting this higher grade mineralization as well. And so that folding is just slightly oblique. So up here is a depiction of the fold hinges, saying that, you know, the core of those folds, or the axial plane, is sort of, you know, roughly oriented towards 294 in a slightly more northwest direction, and then the actual shear is just a little bit further toward the west than the actual planes. This second to last slide is just a bit of discussion for everybody on what we mean about an increase in strain intensity. And so moving from left to right here, what you're looking at is an increase in strain. So those little white minerals are feldspars, and you can see that from you know, where there is weak or no or very little strain, you know, the feldspars, these white minerals, which are the feldspars, getting sort of more and more stretched out, and we call these stretching lineations, which I was saying that in the drill core they match up with the distribution of the mineralization. And as you move further into higher and higher strain, those feldspars are getting sort of so stretched out and elongated that they're sort of stacking up into almost continuous feldspar layers, into very intense strain, which is where we tend to start to see some better mineralization. And you can see that the rocks are getting a little bit darker and maybe a little bit shinier as well, and they're getting darker because of the potassic alteration, which is biotite, and the kind of shinier is the silicification or silicic alteration. So we're getting an introduction of sort of quartz and feldspar with the fluids that are bringing the mineralization. So the minerals which we discuss are mostly chalcopyrite, pyrite. Every now and then we find a little bit of bornite, but it is definitely subordinate. It's mostly chalcopyrite mineralization with gold. And then, so just to finish it all off, just coming back to this long section, you know, to just reiterate that you know, we have defined this core 600 meter zone with the drilling that we've done. We're going to infill it down to 100 meters between pierce points through, or where the holes penetrate through that shear zone, and that sort of will confirm, we believe that will absolutely confirm the model, whether it be the fold model or the footwall splays with that drilling as well, and the fact that we know now from drill holes 97 and 98 that the mineralization is absolutely open at depth, and then further to the west, you know, with the higher grade copper mineral, or the copper mineralization that we're getting ratioed with slightly lower grade gold. So the gold's sort of 0.5 grams per ton up in that zone. We think that, you know, really the drilling's just got to be deeper to keep chasing that mineralization to depth. So thanks very much for your time, and I hope that added some colour and helps you to realise why we are, you know, really excited about those last two holes. We think it's proven that we are open at depth, and you know, we're working our way towards you know, defining that initial sort of 600 meter panel, as well as keeping on exploring, you know, in a brownfields manner from that initial 600 meter panel, and then also throughout within this quarter there are two other satellite targets along strike that we will also start testing towards the northwest in this quarter.